Let's take a look at decimals. First thing, let's talk about our placeholders. There we go. We've talked about this in the past, but remember, if we're over in this side, that's our ones place. This is our tens place, and that's our hundreds place. But we get over on this side, and this is our tenths place. Remember, we add on THS, and this is our hundredths place. Again, the THS, and then this is our thousands place, and then it keeps going. 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, so forth. Well, let's take a look at our first problem. It says write decimal in words. And we got 0.3. Well, you have to look at where this ends in. This ends in the tenths place. So this would be 3 tenths. And that'd be your answer. Let's take a look at this one. 0.02. Again, you have to look at what place it ends in. This ends in the hundredths place, so this would be 2 hundredths. And that's our answer. Now in this one, we have a number before the decimal. So we would just write down a number in whatever manner it needs to be written down. In this case, this is just a 5. And where the decimal is, we put an and. And again, you have to look at what place it ends in. This ends in the hundredths place. So it's 5 and 13 hundredths. And that's our answer. Now this next two want us to take from words and put it back in the decimal. Well, this one says 7 tenths. So tenths is our first decimal place. So this would be 0.7 is our answer. 7 tenths. Now next one says 900 and 5 hundredths. Well, the and is where your decimal is. So this would be 900. Here's our decimal where the and is. And then it says 5 hundredths. So it ends in the hundredths place. So we would put 0.5. So 5 in the 5 hundredths. And that's our answer. Excuse me. Now this next part is rounding. And let's review rounding. For rounding, look at the digit to the right of where you're rounding. So look at the digit to the right of where you're rounding, and then if it's less than 5, round down. And we're going to see what that means with examples. And then if it's 5 or greater, round up. Okay, so let's look at our first one here. Got 8.34. And it says round to the nearest tenth. Again, the TH on there tells us, the position. So, tenth. Well, this is the tenths place here. So we look to the digit to the right. And in this case, it's less than 5, so that means we round down. And what that means is the 3 remains a 3, and everything to the right of it becomes zeros. So that 4 becomes a 0. Now, whenever you have a decimal and you have zeros at the end, you can just drop them. So our answer would be 8.3. Now, next one. Still round to the nearest tenth. We got 10.472. Well, the tenth is right here, and we're going to look to the digit immediately to the right. And this time it's 5 or greater, which means we're going to round up. So the 4, you add 1 to it. So that becomes 5, and then everything to the right becomes zeros. And again, if you have zeros at the end, you can just drop them. And our answer is 10.5. Let's look at one more, rounding to the 10th. 2.009. Well, rounding the tenths place, this is our tenths place. We look digit to the right. It's definitely less than 5, so we're going to round down, which means this digit remains as is, and everything to the right becomes zeros. And of course, if you have decimals and you got zeros, they just drop off. So our answer would be 2. Let's look at one rounding to a different place. We got 4.372. And we want to round to the nearest hundredth. Again, the TH on there tells us it's to the right of the decimal. So here's our hundredth. So I'll look to the digit to the right. Now this is less than 5, which means we're going to round down. Which means the 7 remains as is, and all the digits to the right become zeros. And again, we can always drop off the trailing zeros. So our answer is 4.37. Let's see, 5.0582. And round to the hundredth. Okay, our hundredths place is right here. Look to the digit immediately to the right. It's 5 or greater, which means we're going to round up. So we're going to increase the 5 by 1, so it becomes 6, and all the digits to the right become zeros, which gives us 5.06. Now the next problems ask us to tell which number is smaller. So let's take a look at that. We got 3.094 or 3.092. Well, first thing we notice, the number in front of our decimal is the same, so we can't tell anything about that. So then we go to our first digit after the decimal, the zeros. They're the same, so we can't tell anything about that. And then we go to the next one, and those are the same, so we still can't tell anything. Then we go to our next digit, and they're not the same. And you notice that we got a 4 here and 2 here, and the question is which number is smaller? Well, the one with the smaller number is smaller, so 3.092 will be our answer. Take a look at which one's larger. I think I have room here. 0.0571 or 0.0439. Okay, well the number before our decimal is just zeros, so can't tell anything about that. And actually I didn't mean to put There we go. So we go to our next number. These are zeros. Can't tell anything about that. Then we go to our next number, which is different, so we can. And the question here is which one's larger? Well, the one with the larger number is larger. So 0.0571 is our answer, a larger one. And let me save this page. There we go. There it is. And okay, let's look at another one with comparison. Got 0.08, 0.8, 0.008, 8, and then 0.808. And we'll write it from largest to smallest. Okay, so let's look at the digits before the decimal. This one's 0, this one's 0, this one's 0, this one's 8. If I were to put a decimal, it's right after the 8 here. This one's 0. So obviously the larger of those is the 8. So that goes first. Okay, now let's compare the first digit, the decimal, the tens place. So we got a 0 here, we got an 8 here, 0 here, and 8 here. Okay, so it's going to be between the 0.8 and 0.808. And this one right here doesn't have any more decimal places. So if I were to start adding them, 0.8 would be 0.800. So when I'm comparing it to this one right here, I see this one's actually got an 8 here, which is larger than a 0. So 0.808 would be our larger one. Let me cross some of these off. Okay, we use that one, we've used that one. Our next one would be the 0.8. And cross that off. Okay, so then we got these two numbers left. If I go to the next digit, here's an 8 and here's a 0. Well, obviously 8's larger. So we got 0.08 and then our last one, which is 0.008. And that's going from largest down to smallest. Now next one's adding. So let's take a look at that. Got 0.3 plus 0.805 plus 1.731. Now if you're adding, vertical format is the best with these. And I usually like to put the one with the most decimal places on top. Now this one and this one have the same, so I'll go ahead and put the 1.731 first. Then the 0.805. Now as I'm writing them down, I want to line up the decimal places. And then 0.3 right here. Then add. Now if it helps you, if you got one that doesn't have these digits over here, put zeros there. Now we're just going to add just like normal. So 1 plus 5 is 6. 3 plus 0 is 3. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 8 is 18. So we put the 8 and we carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And our answer would have the decimals straight below where it is in the line up here. So our answer would be 2.836. And let's take a look at another addition. We got 12.51 plus 2.7 plus 3.001. Again, I'm going to put the 3.001 on top, and I'll put the 12.51 next. As I'm writing it down, see what I'm doing? I'm lining up the decimal. And then 2.7. Okay. Now, if it helps you, put zeros here for the missing digits, if it helps you see things lined up. And we'll add just like normal. 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 5 is 5, plus 7 is 12. Put 2, carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 2 is 6, and then 8. And then 1 just carries down. And our decimal for our answer comes straight down below where it's at. And 18.211 is our answer. Let's take a look at subtraction. We got 5.85 minus 3.12. Now again, I'm going to line these up so the decimal places are lined up. Like this. And just subtract like normal. 5 minus 2 is 3. 8 minus 1 is 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. And where our decimal place is, come straight down. And our answer is 2.73. Let's look at this one. Got 10.2 minus 8.135. Okay, so I got 10.2 minus 8.135. Notice I lined up the decimals again. Again, if it helps you, see where this is 10.2. If it helps you to put zeros at the end, just to make sure everything lines up, then go ahead and do that. Okay, we can't subtract 5 from 0, so I have to go borrow. Come over here, there's nothing to borrow, that's a 0. So come over here, the 2 becomes 1, and this becomes 10. Well, that's not where we needed it. We needed it next place over. So I'm going to borrow 1 from here. So 10 becomes 9, and this becomes 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. 1 minus 1 is 0. And 10 minus 8 gives us 2. And again, decimal comes straight down below where it's at. And let me shift position here. Go. And let's look at our next problem. Another subtraction. Let me scroll down here. We got 9.801 minus 3.5772. Okay, so I got 9.801 minus 3.5772. Again, I lined up the decimal places. And again, if you need to put the zeros here to see everything lined up, then go ahead and do that. Okay, we can't subtract 2 from 0, so we need to go borrow 1. So I come over here, borrow 1, that goes to 0. This is now 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. Well, I can't subtract 7 from 0, so I need to go borrow 1. So I come over here, there's nothing to borrow there, come over to the 8, and I borrow 1 from that, so that goes to 7, and this becomes 10. Well, that's not where we needed it. We needed the next place over. So I'm borrow 1 from that, and the 10 goes to 9, and this becomes 10. Okay, 10 minus 7 is 3, 9 minus 7 is 2, 7 minus 5 is 2, and 9 minus 3 gives us 6. Assuming I subtracted correctly and everything, which is always kind of iffy. But I'm going through and checking it now. Looks good. Now, next problem is multiplying. So let's take a look at this. 5.7 times 3.2. Now we want to line this up in a vertical format, and usually you put the one with the most digits on top, and then times 3.2. Okay, we're just going to multiply just like normal. That hasn't changed. Let me grab a drink. Okay, so let's start multiplying. Start with the first digit here, the 2. 2 times 7 is 14, so put 4, carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, and then add the 1. That gives us 11. Now I'm moving over my second digit, so I'll put a 0 placeholder for that first one, and this is where I'll start. 3 times 7 is 21, so put the 1, carry the 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. And then I want to add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 7 is 8. And we get that. Okay, so you multiply just like normal. Then you count how many decimal places you have. See, I have 2 decimal places here. So I come down here, and I'm going to have 2 decimal places. So our answer is 18.24. And, you know, I'm not the greatest at decimals, so let me double check this with my calculator. Yeah, 18.24. And, I might have room here. Let me do it there. Let's take a look at problem number 20. We got 1.5 times 1.002. Now again, personally I like to put the one with the most digits up on top. And then I'll multiply it times 1.5. Now I'm going to multiply just like normal. That hasn't changed. Start my first digit, 5. 5 times 2 is 10. So put the 0, carry the 1. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 1 gives me 1. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. Go over to my next digit. So I'll put a 0 placeholder here. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. Then I'll add them together. So put a 0 here. 1 plus 2 is 3. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. And then put a 1. And we count how many decimal places we had up here. We had 3 there and 1 there. So there's 4 total. So we need 4 decimal places here. Now we have a trailing 0. And again, you can drop those off. So our answer is 1.503. And let me double check that on my calculator. 2 times 1.5. 1.503, yep. And one more multiplication. Okay, we got 52.3 times 2.3. Again, I want to put the number of the most digits up on top, so I got 52.3 times 2.3. Start with the first digit, 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. I move my next digit, so I'll put a 0 placeholder for the one we just did. Now I start with 2, and again, when you multiply it, it has to be right below it, where you put your start. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5 is 10. Now we're going to add those. 9 plus 0 is 9. 6 plus 6 is 12. Put 2, carry the 1. 5 plus 4 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. Put the 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then 1. Now we look up here. We got 2 decimal places. So assuming I multiplied correctly, our answer will be 120.29. Let me check. And yep. So let me save that page. And let's look at our next problem. It's division. So we got 5 into 3 0.15. Okay. Now, key on division is you can't have any decimals in the number out in front. Well, we don't have any out in front, so that's perfect. Other than that, you take where your decimal is, and you put it right up, straight up from it. That's where it's going to be in our answer. Now, 5 doesn't go into 3, so put a 0. 5 does go into 31, though. It goes into it 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. I'll subtract that, so that's gone. That gives me a 1 and then a 5. 5 does go into 15 3 times, and again, where the 5 is here, you go straight up from there, and that's where the 3 goes. And then 3 times 5 is 15, and subtract those, and we get a 0. So our answer is 0.63. Let's look at another division. Got 31 and 37.2. Now again, we cannot have any decimals out in front, which we don't, so we're fine there. Put decimal place right up, decimal point right up where it's straight up from where it's at. Now 31 doesn't go into 3. It does go in 37 one time. 1 times 31 is 31. We'll subtract that. That gives us 6, and I'll bring down the 2. Now 31 goes into 62 2 times, and I'll put the 2 straight up from where the ending digit is, which is right there. 2 times 31 is 62. Subtract those, and we get 0. So our answer is 1.2. Okay, and this one we got 0.23 and 0.1311, and we're still doing dividing them. Well, we said we can't have any decimal places out in front. Boy, I haven't woke up this morning yet. We got 2 here. Well, I'm going to take this decimal and I'm going to move it 2 places to the right. And if I move that 2 places to the right, then I have to move this 2 places to the right. So this problem becomes 23 out in front, and then 13.11 inside. Can't have any decimal places out in front. Basically, we're multiplying both of those by 100, so we're not doing anything special. You can do that in division. Okay, 23 doesn't go into 1, doesn't go into 13. I'm going to put a 0 here just for a placeholder before the decimal. Again, decimal goes straight up from where it's at. 23 probably goes into 131. Well, it does, but I don't know how many times. Let me see. 5. Put a 5 there. That's 15, 1, 11. How about 6? If 6 is 8, 1. Okay, I think it's 5. So then 5 times 3 is 15. Put the 5, carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. And we want to subtract that. Is 16? Yeah. And then I'll bring down to 1. And 23 goes into 161. 7 times, I think. 7 times 3 is 21. 1, carry the 2. 14, 16, yeah. Then subtract that, and we get a 0. So our answer to this problem is 0.57. Now let's look at another division. We got 0.02 and 0.0462. Now again, we cannot have any decimal places out in front, so I'm going to move this 2 places to the right to get rid of that decimal, and I've got to move this 2 places to the right. So this becomes a 2 here, and move that 2 places here, and that gives us 4.62. Now again, where this decimal point is, you go straight up and put the point. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract that, that goes away. We'll bring down to 6. 2 does go into 6 3 times. So put 3 there. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract that, and those disappear, and we'll bring down to 2. And 2 goes into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract that, and we get 0. So our answer is 2.31. Let's look at one more division. We've got 3.06 and 10.2. Okay, we can't have any decimals out in front, so move it 2 places to the right, and we have to move this 2 places to the right. Well, that one doesn't have 2 places, but I can always put a 0 in there. So this becomes 306, and this becomes 1020, and here would be my decimal if I were to put it. Doesn't go into 1, doesn't go into 0, doesn't go into 2, goes into 1020, I think 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18, put the 8, carry the 1, 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, that gives me 918. Subtract that, and that gives us 201. Yeah, 102. Now we're not done because this isn't 0, so we have to keep adding zeros on here. Let's add a 0 there. I put it down here, and that goes into that. What if I did my math wrong? And of course, this is my decimal place. Go straight up from there, and that'd be 3. That'd give us 918 again. You see a pattern developing here. It'll give us 102, and then we're back to putting a 0 here. What if the 3's do repeat? Let me double check this on my calculator. 10.2. I thought I made these all come out nice, but maybe not. Sure enough, it does repeat. Okay, at the point where you see the 3's is going to keep going forever, then remember we put the bar over the part that's going to repeat, so that'd be our answer. Now, if it said round to a certain place, then we might do it different. Like if it said round to the tenths place, then our answer would be 3.3. If it said round to the hundredths place, it'd be 3.33. Now this is a very quick way to multiply, and it does have its purpose. You're going to see this when you're working with the metric system. If you're multiplying by powers of 10, 10, 100, 1,000, so forth, your 0 here will tell you how many places you're going to move your decimal place. On this one, I have 1 0, so that means I'm going to move my decimal place 1 place to the right. So our answer would be 81.3. On this problem, we have 9.183, and we're multiplying it times 100. Well, notice we have 2 decimal places, or 2 zeros. The zeros is what dictates it, sorry. I need to wake up. 2 zeros, it means we'll move our decimal place 2 places to the right. So our answer is 918.3. Very quick way of doing that. Okay, so our last, next one, we got 82.34 divide by 100. Okay, over here, we multiply by 100, move the decimal place 2 places to the right. If we divide by 100, it goes the other way. We move it 2 places to the left. So our answer here will be 0.8234. Take a look at this division. We got 1.2 divided by 1,000. Okay, we got 3 zeros. That means we're going to move our decimal place 3 places to the left. Well, we don't got 3 places, but let's see. We move it 1, 2, 3. So this is where our decimal would be. So we have to put zeros here. So this would be 0.0012 as our answer. And let me save that. Time for the tablet to blow up, so let me bring up another one. There we go. Here we got 0.08. It says convert the decimals to fractions. Well, what helps with this, if you think about how you read this in words, this would be 8 hundredths because it ends in the hundredths place. Well, that's exactly how we're going to do it. We're going to take the number here, dropping off trailing or leading zeros, and we'll put it over the ending place. Ends in the hundredths, so we'll put it over 100. Now at this point you may have to reduce this. 8 over 100 are at least both divisible by 4. So I divide the top part by 4 and divide the bottom part by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So that'd be our answer. Let's look at another one. We got 3.12. Now this ends in the hundredths place. So again, we're going to take this and put it over 100. Now this reduces, I don't think I see all of it, but they're at least both divisible by 4. Should be able to do that in my head, but oh well. 28, 32, so it gives us 8, so that'd be 78. And divide that by 4 and we get 25. And this doesn't break down anymore. This might be our answer. Depends upon instructions. If they want to leave us leave it in improper fraction form, then that's our answer. If they want us to convert it to a mixed number, 25 goes in 78 3 times, so it gives me 75 with the remainder of 3. So we'd have 3 and 3 25ths. So again, it depends upon your instructions, what they're wanting. I can't give you a general rule. You just have to read the directions of different problems. Okay, same instructions. Convert the decimals to fractions. Well, this ends in the. This is tenths, hundredths, thousands. This ends in the thousands place. So this would be 15 over 1,000. Now these are both divisible at least by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And this divided by 5 gives us 200. So that would be our answer. Now these next problems want us to go the other way. We start with 2/5, and it says convert fractions to decimals. Well, that's fairly simple. We just do our division. So we're going to take our 2 and we're going to divide it by our 5. And usually you'll probably have decimals here. It's only if it's improper fraction form, may not. So by default, you're almost always going to put a decimal there. And again, your answer has a decimal right above it. Now 5 doesn't go in 2, so I have to add a 0 here. 5 does go in 20. 4 times 5 is 20. Then you subtract those and you get a 0. So when we've got a 0 here, that means we're done. And our answer here would be 0.4. Let's look at another one. Okay, so we got 7/8. Again, we're going to do our division. And it's not an improper fraction, so I know I need a decimal, definitely. Let's put it here. 8 doesn't go in, and then where I answer, the decimal straight above it. 8 doesn't go into 7, so that's 0. So we add a 0 here. That goes into that 8 times. 8 times 8 is 64. Subtract those, we get 6. We're still not done, so we add on another 0 and put a 0 down here. 8 goes into 67 times, and that gives us 56. Subtract those, that gives us 4, and we add another 0. And 8 goes into 45 times. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract that, and we get a 0. So our answer is 0.875. One more. Got 2/3. Okay, so come over here. We'll do our division and put a decimal and put a 0. And our answer has the decimal point right straight above it. 3 doesn't go into 2, but 3 does go into 20. It goes into 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract that. 20 minus 18 gives us 2, and we have to add on another 0. 3 goes in 20 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. And all of a sudden you're going to start seeing a pattern. The 6's are repeating, aren't they? So this would be 0.6 with a bar over it like that. Or if they specify like round to the tenths place, let's take a look at the tenths place. This is kind of combining what you've seen earlier with rounding with these. Well, if I had this right here, and I want to round to the tenths place, here's my tenths place. I look to the digit immediately to the right, and it's 5 or greater, which means I'm going to round up. So this would be 0.7. Now if it said to the hundredths place, we have 0.6666. Our hundredths place is this place right here. So we look to the digit immediately right. It's 5 or greater, so we're going to round up. So this would be 0.67. So again, you have to just kind of read the instructions and see exactly what you're looking for. Let me save this. And then I'll stop the recorder.